Okay, now we are going to comment on the latest articles that have been published in the PHP classes blog. Many interesting tutorials, many useful articles. So let's comment those that were published on May. Arthur, which ones would you like?
Let me start. So the first article I would like to comment on is how to turn your WordPress site into more than a blog with the Easy Content Types plugin. So it's an article by Elma Dilavergay from Bosnia and Herzegovina. I think she mostly writes WordPress articles. I remember her from previous podcasts. And
Yes,
basically,
so
yeah,
continue.
sure. Do you want to say anything about her?
Sorry?
Did you want to say anything about her?
No, she has been writing these articles are about plugins from the same company that develops those plugins that we commented before.
Yeah. Okay. So, as mostly of you know, that WordPress is a blogging platform where when you create blogs, blog entries, but of course it can be something more. You can create new content or page types. Most in most cases, for each of the type that you want to create, you would have to create specific plugin and define the fields and stuff like that. And in this article, they present one very neat plugin called Easy Content Types, which actually allows you to do exactly that. It allows you to create new uh, content types, new pages, so your WordPress becomes not simply a blog platform, but more like a website with some specific contents or forums or anything you can think of. Um, so here it describes what the Easy Content plugin is and how to install it and all the features. And basically it consists of three main things that you define. One is the post types, is exactly what would be in this your custom page and your custom post, which field would it be. Other is meta boxes, which is basically form. I think that was usually used in admin panels that for some configurations. So it would generate form where you can provide some options. You can define user access controls, or who can access, who can post there, and stuff like that. And I think there was also a taxonomies, which is like a grouping of posts. So like will there be tags or will they be grouped by something else and stuff like that. So it's actually very versatile usage, and I think I don't even know, I have not seen the plugin that would actually be this versatile that you could use and transform your WordPress to any website that you want. So now I'm just wondering if this plugin is free or not. I don't know. Have you checked it?
I think this one is paid.
Probably, yeah, because
The other, I think the previous ones that she wrote about were free with freemium versions, and this one is paid. But okay,
yeah, it's still, but yeah, it's actually suits many cases that you want to do, and I think it's quite great. And if you already know WordPress, want to continue using it, but using it for something more, then such plugin would be great.
exactly.
Okay, next article I wanted to mention is PHP 7 migration guide part. This is part 4. We already commented on the previous part, so it will discuss again a couple of more features. It was written by Atif Shahab Qureshi from Pakistan. Okay, so and well, as you know, there are many changes and new features in PHP 7, and this article describes new classes in interfaces like Into, which is international extension for intertotalization, then where you can encode text and perform operations for different locales and date and time formats and stuff like that. And there was also Into char class when for manipulation with Unicode characters. I think we already discussed also in some RFCs about Into char class in case of detecting encoding, or I think, or something like that. Um, there are reflection API that would allow you to basically uh, introspect the code, get all the functions of the class, list all the parameters and stuff like that. I don't know how limited was the version in previous PHP, or was it even there, but here this article discusses all the possibilities that reflection can do in PHP 7 specifically. Then again, the session handling also have changed. Um, yeah, session handling is existing for some time now, but there is a thing mentioned like session update timestamp handler interface is a new thing that was introduced in PHP 7. They could give a little more information of that, or at least provide the link, but well, yeah. It also mentions that there are changes like that. Then there is an exception hierarchy that uh, some exceptions that you may occur in your PHP 7 code, and errors, and also throwables. So all listed here.
It's a big list. Actually, it is inspired in some other list that is on PHP site. I'm not sure if it is about migration or something between the older and new versions. So basically cover that and explain a bit more about those important things.
Yeah, and the new constant, global constants that are reserved by PHP. And I think the important one is core constant in PHP 7 is PHP int min. Oh, okay, it's not that. But oh yeah, as you see, this is one that the core constant and others are defined by the modules, uh, different libraries that you might use and stuff like that. So all this is the fourth article covering all the changes in PHP 7. As you see, there are lots of changes, lots of things to cover, and it's hard to describe all of them in one or even multiple articles. Okay, next article is Get the Coding Jump You Want by Manuel Lemos from Portugal, as usual, not Brazil.
Yeah, that's where I was born, so
Yeah, that was your roots. Sure.
when you move to another country, which country you should say you are coming from? It's sometimes we have to choose. Anyway, this article, are you going to comment it, or is that is up?
Yeah, yes, of course. I'm not coming. So I think it's sponsored by Hierarchy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So there are tips on when you are looking for a job, specific coding job, on what you should do. Uh, like tip one, be transparent. It mentions that while sometimes it may seem it's better to keep quiet and not tell about your other opportunities or stuff like that, but actually being transparent and being open to your possible employers and talking about your other opportunities would benefit you.
Yeah.
And also make it clear to the employer that they are not your last hope and you have other options too. And what I like actually about this article, that it also provides an examples in kind of small emails that how you can subtly mention to them something like that, or how just an example how to do it in the email. So that was an interesting point. The second one is be upfront. Of course, there are lots of things to discuss when you're looking for a job. One of the most important probably would be your job salary, and the main point here is not to leave it all on the last negotiation part when you're already accepting the job, but try to negotiate and find out all the things beforehand in first interviews and stuff like that. So, and to do that, at first you must put your specific goals when you're looking for a job. So, what is your goal? To earn more money, or to work on something interesting, or to have a job near your home, or the stuff like that. Put it in the points, and then be upfront with your uh, possible employers in interviews, saying I prioritize this feature over that feature, and even if you want to work at these companies and some things does not really uh, be like not in your goal list or not what you expect them to be, you can also always negotiate and try to get a better deal, or try to persuade them to change the deal, because if you leave it all to the last interview, it would can turn out bad for both of you. They expecting you already to get the job, or you expecting to get the job, and then all the details come out, and you understand that this job is not for you, for example. Yes, so be upfront with what you want, understand what you want, and again, it mentions in the email how you can write subtle email mentioning heads up and stuff like that. Yeah, so I probably already run in the tip phrase about the priorities too here. And as the last tip, the key to success is start optimizing before the final negotiation. Again, I also already mentioned about it. And I think they also mention about hired how they can find you jobs and in which cases there are mentions like at hired we provide a starting point for salary every role and stuff like that. So even if you don't have any experience or you don't know your worth, then companies like Hired can really help you to start and to not get too bad of a deal, or anything like that. Anything you want to mention on this one?
No, it's basically what you covered. It is even interesting that you gave your opinion on what you would do or not do. But basically, the idea is to get you some tips to uh, getting ready to get a job, because many people are looking for jobs, but they are not quite aware of what is necessary, what recruiter companies are looking for. So I think the article aims to help clarifying that with the help of this sponsor, which is Hired, a company that has offices in many places and is looking always for PHP developers to actually uh, come on board and to apply to the great jobs that they have.
Okay. And the next article I wanted to mention is uh, it's actually a quite interesting article. I was shocked I didn't know about that before, but it's about how to contribute to PHP development, writing PHP tests. So the author is Marcos PTF from Brazil. I don't know the real name, but okay, it's obviously username. So turns out there is a specific PHP test format that is used internally by core PHP developers that we usually comment at PHP podcast that
Yeah.
releases and their RFCs, and each of the features are tested with exactly this PHP format test. So, as I understood, it's a simple PHP kind of script, but with a PHP extension. When run gets constructed into PHP test and the results compared again with your part of the PHP test that you have written. And there are also lots of conventions to follow, like is it test for specific bug reported or is it basic test functionality? and stuff like that. So it was developed from the early days, maybe of PHP. Basically, it's really old, and there are lots of tests already in PHP. That's why the naming convention and other convention stuff are really important. But basically, I really did not know that even if you don't know much about PHP or cores or C++ or anything like that, but you only know PHP, you want to contribute, this is actually a really great way to do that because everyone kind of hates writing tests. Well, probably someone enjoys it, but I think most of us do hate writing tests. But we need to write them. We need to have stable software. So this kind of job, if you are willing to do it, would be great help. It would be even better if they would post maybe um, some sections of the PHP code that should be tested, or specific functions or bugs or anything like that. So people would come here to this article, learn about PHP and how to construct them, and then they already would have certain links to follow to write tests for and try to write tests for and stuff like that. Yeah, but basically, if you are willing to contribute in that way, then check out this article. It describes a lot and how it works, how to run it, and all the conventions and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, this is actually interesting because, well, first, PHP is a format that is intended for creating tests for the core PHP development. For the regular PHP code, many people use PHP unit or maybe other framework. It's not important. The important is that it addresses the need for testing important things. And but for the core PHP development, you need to know the PHP T format and how to submit tests. One interesting thing is that despite you can write tests for PHP features without having to know the C language on which most PHP is written.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is interesting because what some people can do, and I think it was the intention of the author, Marcus. He wanted to give back to the community as a means to thanks for all the things that PHP provides, and he also teach others how to also contribute with the PHP development. You can just create tests for bugs or features that need tests to verify that the features always work. So it was a great contribution, and I hope those that are motivated to write tests to give back to the PHP community found this article interesting. Okay. Did you comment on all articles?
Yeah, I think I just found the list of the functions that are not tested that you actually can write tests for, so even better. No, I'm just still checking the article. Yeah, I think that's I'm done with the articles, so that's all for me for now.
Okay, so on my behalf, I also like to comment on a few articles. Let me share the screen here first, starting this tutorial, which is actually a second part of a tutorial that was started by Cyril Ogana from Kenya, and to talk about how to take advantage of PHP Add IDE to debug your PHP applications. And in this case, he created a a sort of application with using Symfony framework, and then it goes through all the steps that you need to do to debug or using watches, breakpoints, conditional breakpoints, and so he presented the article with lots of screenshots, and there is there are plenty of screenshots and for all the steps. And he presented a case on which he wanted to debug some problem with routing the requests, and so we gave all the tips where you could start to debug your problems, like putting breakpoints on the specific points of your application that could be used, and basically that's it. He also mentions that despite this was used to develop browser-based applications, it can also be used for debugging CLI applications. But there will be a third part that I'm still waiting for him to finish, that he will explain that more in detail. So another article that I want to comment is this one, an article sponsored by Indeed. Indeed as a company that aggregates jobs and can also, I think they also do recruiting, and do recruiting for very high-profile companies. And so they give all the tips that, for instance, if you are a developer that wants to get a job in those companies that they call elite, you can go through a process on which you can sign up on this Indeed Prime program that they call it, and if you get hired, you even get a bonus of $5,000. Of course, this is very specific to the United States, but I think this is still interesting for whoever is looking for a job in these places. Another interesting article, this one from, again, Elma de la Regueif, but it is about a different product. Actually, it's a new product from IP to location. You know, IP to location, that is that provides those databases or web services to determine the location of a certain user by IP address.
Yep.
So they provide this service, and now I think they have a new type of database that also includes information about which IP addresses are proxies, and they keep that information updated frequently, so you would need to actually update the databases quickly. And this is basically to make it harder for people that try to cause some harm in sites, like hacking or posting spam, but they usually, when they do those bad things, they hide behind proxies. And the article is interesting because not only it tells all the server source, but it also tells all the types of proxies. And I thought this is very interesting, especially this part of the types of proxies. Talks about the Tor network. I know the Tor network. I don't use it because this is specifically to help people that for some reason want to hide. I have nothing to hide, but some people may use it because it uses a lot of encryption between different routers, and you don't know what was the route that the package passed before actually reaching a certain server. Then there are other types of proxy that they describe here. I'm not going through them here, but what it is important is IP to proxy product that they have now is available and can tell you which IP addresses correspond to those types of proxies. And so the article is interesting because it shows how you can use it from the command line. And also in the end, it tells you that if you don't want to install the database, just like with the IP to location, you can use the proxy detection web service. So just a regular REST API. So this is just for this article, which is interesting. Another interesting article, this one from Samuel Adishina, which has published an interesting package that allows you to sort of script the installation of a database, defining tables, views, indexes, storage procedures, and so. And he defined a sort of a language based on the JSON syntax that you can define the steps that you want to install your database, and then the package can generate the necessary SQL statements to implement that script that you defined. And this is quite interesting and can be helpful for people that want to automate their process of installing databases. Finally, one interesting article is from Viktor Volchov from Russia. It is written inside the blog of his package Tiny PHP ORM, and basically what he talks about is the good and bad things about the current ORM tools. So basically, he mentions things that you should do, and also suggesting things you should not do. I'm not going through the article in detail, but I think it is very interesting. It raises lots of comments and also raise a confusion because in his initial article, he has this polemic statement: fat models can be attractive, but not in the case of ORM. And then he posted a picture of a fat model, which happens to be a person that is fat and is posing as model. So it was a pun, not exactly to insult fat people. Actually, he even says that fat people can be attractive. But what he wanted to say is that fat models in ORM are not very attractive. Not those that have many functions. Those model classes that some ORM generate or make you write are not interesting because they probably have a lot more code than it is not unnecessary. For instance, gives an example here. He has already probably found somewhere that there was a model that was doing formatting of something, a title for a newsletter. So this should not be the role of the model. This is probably the view code, and that is basically what he meant by fat models are in the ORM world are not attractive. I mean, it's not a good idea. And then he mentions that after this, he mentions his own package and TinyORM, and it is interesting for you to check it out because it is not exactly small, but it's smaller than many ORM packages that has like many files. Actually, some files are not the package itself, are just examples. And basically, the idea is to demonstrate his concepts in this article. So basically, with this, we reach the end of the articles for this month. I'll hope to comment on many other articles, interesting articles next month, and just also give a reminder to everybody that wants to write articles. You can either write articles for the PHP classes blog or even JS classes if you have any JavaScript related posts. And you can also, if you post a package on the site, you can also write posts about that package, and helps you to get more visibility. If you flag those posts as featured, and of course the posts have to have some depth, could not be simple posts, but if the posts are useful, they will be reviewed and approved for publication. So with this, we end this podcast. On my behalf, that is all for now. Bye.
Bye.